The Maximilian Raynor brand really focuses on storytelling and narrative and transporting an audience into a different world. But under all of that theatricality and performance is a real focus on reducing the impact of my immediate studio in terms of looking at the waste that we produce, whether that's through our zero waste cutting technique, which is using straight lines of sewing on ribbons, or whether that's creating organza feathered garments from the scraps of previous projects. Be a magpie, start picking around this planet and looking at what exists already and what you can do with that. Or if you intend to make something entirely new, what can you do with what you leave behind when you do that? Well, I've always been a lifelong vegetarian, and so compassion for the planet has been my absolute sort of foundation of my ethos in this world. My mother raised myself and my brother vegetarian, and you know, in the UK where that's not very common, we were under a lot of scrutiny, a lot of bullying even, but that transitioned into, you know, a compassion not just in what I eat, but what I consume as a designer. But I would say that I always lead with the storytelling and the performance. That is what gets me up in the morning. I said in my speech that circularity is a background fundamental. And so I don't feel that the best designers of this world can lead with circularity. It should just be something there that we're all doing, but you have to be a effing brilliant designer as far as I'm concerned. And so we need to start combining those two worlds, the true taste makers and the circular community, and that will push the forefront of the agenda of kind of sustainability and fashion. I don't find that having circularity as like this background fundamental rather than the thing I lead with, I don't find that that limits the design in any way. If we do produce something that has then produced waste, I'll then look at the waste and think what I can do with that. So it's not that we're always thinking we have to create something that has no waste. Of course we produce waste, but once we've produced it, we turn it into something. I went to the Crafts Museum here in Delhi today, the National Crafts Museum, and was just blown away by the history of craft and textile and ceramics and statues and puppetry, and I've just been, yeah, completely like a kid in a candy store. And there's ways to use it and there's ways to understand how to use it. I think it's dangerous when Western designers come, take and don't really return. And so if I am to use what I've learned and been inspired by here, I hope that can be a really active collaboration with some of the other designers, forging relationships. I don't know, Farrak and I, Rishabh from Farrak, I think that there's ways that we can work together and of course the other designers too. So there's always a way to bring India into my London-centric brand, and I hope to find a way to do it in a way that the people here would love and cherish and be excited by. Sustainability is the future, so if you'd like to be relevant, jump on the bandwagon and find your way of doing that. I don't want to greenwash Maximilian Raynor as a brand and suggest that everything we do is sustainable. I'm literally wearing petroleum-based shoes from the brand, but it's about making the steps towards shifting what you do into a more circular future. So if you're somebody who's starting out, make do and mend. Look at what you already have. Get into the closets of your grandparents or whatever your situation is. Be a magpie, start picking around this planet and looking at what exists already and what you can do with that. Or if you intend to make something entirely new, what can you do with what you leave behind when you do that? That's the future of design, and we've got to get away from this like capitalist consumer society. And that sounds wrong as a fashion brand, but if we can bring it back to covetable garments that people love forever and hand down forever, that's the truest sustainability for me. And from a personal level, if we could just stop killing animals for fur and stop killing animals for leather, you know, there's a certain ethics as well that I have too, of just like feeling for other creatures in the world. And so yeah, there's multiple layers and everyone follows a different path. But if you can start with an idea and execute it in a way that doesn't leave too much behind, then you're on the right path.